I will lead now through this sequence, and obviously there's not so much time, so I will kind of rush through it, more like as a way to show you how to do it. But if you in some kind of formal practice become familiar with this process, it is actually possible in daily life to do it in a few moments. Yeah? So the moments of stepping into the experience, saying yes, how you feel, breathing out what is needed, and then seeing everything as empty. So that's like that can be just that can be a few minutes once you familiarized yourself with this in a more in a quiet environment. And so in this meditation, I will first invite you to connect with something you struggle with. And maybe you already have a feeling that, of something unsolved, which is coming through right now. But it's also possible to connect with a situation like this through memory. Yeah? So then you would go into a recent situation or a situation you have in your life which is difficult for you. Basically, a situation you instinctively would want to get rid of. Yeah? And then we will direct our awareness into the body. So this process is a body process. It's also a bit conceptual, but it's mainly so the healing and the transformation happens in the subtle energy body. So it's in the body. And so then we will look at that. So where does this unsolved experience, where does it sit in the body? Yeah, and then a bit of Tonglen with that, and then bringing the wisdom of emptiness into the experience. So these are the 3 steps. And I might go a little bit too quick for you, so, but then just move on, so this is more like a presentation on how to do it. So then you just move on, even if you feel that, I need a little bit more time to actually feel it in the body, but then you just move on. So you can listen to it after again. Maybe then pause the recording and take the time you need. So let's take a few moments of shifting into present moment awareness. You make yourself comfortable, adjusting the posture a little, neither too sloppy nor too tight. So assuming a bit the posture of the warrior with an open chest and a straight back, shoulders relaxed. And you take your seat as a warrior, as a gentle warrior, a warrior of selfless love. And you can slightly stabilize with the breath, slightly paying attention to the breath, but go more into openness. Unhook from thinking. Softening the belly and the shoulders and the face so that everything can flow where it wants to flow. dropping back into the trunk of your body if you get too much entangled into the inner dialogue. And then you step into a difficult experience, maybe by recalling the situation. So you go back a bit into the conceptual mind and remembering the feelings and the people involved or the topic. There's still connection with the breath and the body. And then you pay attention to where that challenge, the difficult situation sits in your body, the feelings. So where do you feel it in the body? And you can quickly scan your body and then just notice. And it might be rather clear or it's vague, so that doesn't matter. Just notice, where does this live in your body? And then together with some breath awareness, you bring your awareness a bit closer to that. You bring it to the foreground. But you stay as the witness. You stay in witness consciousness. Where does it sit in your body? And how does it feel? And you breathe into it. Does it have a shape? Is it rather distinct or more pervasive in different areas of your body? And what is the texture of the sensations? So you stay connected without losing yourself in it. And you try to experience it as spare energy, as spare sensations. Is there color maybe connected with it? What is with the temperature? Is this the same temperature or hotter or colder than the surrounding areas? And if you notice resistance, then you just include that. So then the resistance becomes part of that. And if it starts to disappear, you might need to go back a bit into the conceptual mind to intensify it a little. So the first step is to let go of struggle. So that means to, as best as you can, to find a yes, to allow, to say, yes, this is how I feel. It's real, this is what is happening, I feel like this. It's okay. This is a feeling, it's a normal feeling. And your awareness and your breath become like holding hands. So you just hold it, you touch it. Yes, it's okay. You're allowed to be here. So if possible, you bring some warmth, some kindness into the relationship with that which you actually usually are harsh with or rejecting or judging. So you invite it back. You invite the guest, the family member back to the family table. And you try to experience it for what it is. Yes, this is how I feel. It's okay. It's a human experience. And then if you notice fixing, controlling, trying to find solution, you just let go again and you say yes. You can be here as long as it's needed. There's space for you. And while you do that, you continue to feel a sense of space. The space from where you're looking from, the space which is surrounding this experience. So you see, you feel that there's enough space for something like this to be, just to be what it is. And you also notice if it's changing, maybe it's intensifying a little. So that can happen. But maybe it is also moving. Maybe it stays the same. Doesn't matter. You just notice. So, and then in the second step, we drop the word mine. We experience that contraction, that color, these sensations as something we share. So there's many people, not only in this group, but beyond, who experience the same contraction, the same pain. I'm not alone with this. And then possibly combined a little with the out-breath, you give relief, you give light, you give healing, you give love, you give nurturing, as if you are nurturing a child. So with the out-breath, giving selfless love to all of us. The out-breath, you give listening, presence to all of us. So together we meet that which is usually met with resistance and harshness and suppressing. We meet it with kindness, with attention, with curiosity, with warmth. And then we give the out-breath to all of us. Nobody alone. To your friends, to your family, to the people you work with, to your neighbors, to everyone. We breathe out selfless love into this mysterious, difficult, and beautiful human life. And everyone receives healing. And then we can conclude this second step with a little prayer. So may everyone who is experiencing this, may they find healing, may they find wholeness, may they find the love they need. May they be free of suffering. Including myself. And then you move to the third step by realizing that whatever you experience is an appearance in consciousness, an appearance in awareness, and that it is made from the stuff, the same stuff our dreams are made of. They vividly appear, but they are unfindable as something substantial, like a rainbow, like a dream. They are as real as a dream, as real as a rainbow, so they appear, but they are not that solid, not that real as they appear. And you look in your own experience if that is true for you. But actually you can't find anything real. You can't find anything lasting. It's empty appearances within awareness, within consciousness, made from consciousness, made from awareness. So everything you experience right now is a wave in the shoreless ocean of consciousness, of awareness. It arises from awareness, is awareness, and dissolves back into the awareness. Like ice is arising from water, is water and will dissolve back into water. So this appearance is unity arising from unity, dissolving back into unity. This appearance is the Dhammakaya rising from the Dhammakaya, dissolving back into the Dhammakaya. This appearance is God arising from God, being God and dissolving back into God. So maybe initially more on a conceptual level, just labeling the experience in a different way, but possibly sliding into the experience of non-duality, one taste, and then rest, just rest. And everything what is arising, thoughts, feelings, sounds, sensations, are the songs, the poems of Prajnaparamita, the Great Mother, the Goddess. The sounds you hear, the thoughts you have, the feelings you have, the sense of I. So Prajnaparamita, perfection of wisdom, the Great Mother, undescribable, ungraspable, in the nature of love. And then you rest. No more further to go. That's the end of seeking. And maybe you can feel, you can experience that only goodness wants to emerge from this place, from this state. Only creativity, only love wants to emerge. Forgiveness, selfless giving wants to emerge. Service wants to emerge. The Great Mother wants to emerge through you, through your hands, through your belly, through your voice, through the way you look at the world. Okay, and then we conclude with setting the intention to allow this process in our daily life, pausing, and then letting go of the struggle, turning poison into medicine, and then the wisdom of seeing emptiness. Then if you have closed your eyes, you can open them. Okay, I hope that it made sense. Is there any questions, Daniel? Maybe if there are, maybe it's good you read them so people who watch on Instagram can hear it.
Yeah, the first question in the chat says, giving selfless love, does it mean that we actually do this for consciousness? I don't know if you need some further elaboration on that.
Yeah, I don't really understand the question.
Maybe
Hannah, do you want to say something about it? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was thinking, so that we like do it for emptiness, in a way. Do you understand? Or
No.
Giving selfless love, does it mean that you do it for conscious? Like you don't necessarily do it for another person. You do it through yourself to the.
Yeah.
This is what you mean.
Yeah. So giving selfless love is a selfless love which emerges without someone giving it, and without someone receiving it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So any other kind of giving is also good, but it's contaminated. Yeah. So that's not the perfection of giving. Perfection of giving is effortless, spontaneous giving, which emerges from nobody to nobody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here nobody doesn't mean nothing is happening, but it's a giving which is free of the egocentric impulse.
Yes.
That's the perfection of giving.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And this one is a bit longer. I'll read it to you, but I might have to read back certain sections because it's quite long. I always react when hearing talks involving some sort of agenda, like saving the world, for example, because it appears inauthentic, believing the illusion of separation from a non-dual point of view. Have I misunderstood something, or is it that the distinction you make when you talk about provisional practice? But why not work completely on dissolving the illusion, the third way? Maybe it could be like seeing a magician show and just pointing out that it is fake. What is the fun in that?
Who's asking that question?
I don't know if for privacy reasons I can say.
I just check. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's a really good question. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think, certainly one part is kind of the bodhicitta practices, practicing to, with the intention to wake up for the benefit of all. That is a provisional practice, so it belongs into the gradual path practice, and in that it is dualistic and it is provisional. Yeah. So that's the difference between bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So whenever I say these stupid things, I mean, they are not stupid, they are very beautiful. I mean, if you want to say something in the dualistic world, then that's probably some of the most beautiful things you can say, the praises of bodhicitta and the inspiration of bodhicitta. But it is clear that in the tradition, this belongs to the gradual path, and it is a placebo. So with ultimate bodhicitta, so the experience of non-duality, maybe one could say that this selfless giving is a giving which has no agenda. So it is a spontaneous. It is a spontaneous response, which is not coming from only the ego has agenda. It's not coming from agenda, but and a bit right now I talk from a place of faith, but also I have a sense of that within the non-dual experience only benefit emerges. But that's difficult to argue about. but that's my faith, and I see it in my teacher, Lama Sopa, and I also have a sense that, in the end of the meditation, I described this experience that if you really rest and you have a taste of connectedness, then to feel what wants to emerge from that. And I think, at least for me, in that moment, I wouldn't come out of the meditation and start to criticize someone or judge someone or something. It's just not there, that kind of impulse. So it's a bit based on the insight of the Tantrayana that this universe is an expression of a evolutionary impulse which in itself is essence love. So if we go down into the deepest level, and that's my faith and my hope. So, but it's not like blind faith. It's a bit mixed with my own experience and what my teacher lived. So the challenge in seeing everything as an illusion or as an illusion of a magician is that it is heard by people who are very much in a dualistic split as heard as some kind of nihilism. Of course, that's not what it means, but if I would too much kind of sit here and say nothing matters and there's no free choice and everything is perfect and just relax and listen and let your own goodness emerge, I would lose a lot of people, and I have to keep them. Not for my business, but they have to stay on the path so that they can lead, that they can be led into, not by me. So in general, I'm talking about general, that they can led into the experience of non-duality, so that they actually are led into the experience of that nothing ever happened and nothing matters, but then it's not a nihilistic experience, it is an experience of pure love. But that's very difficult to explain to someone who is completely locked into the dualistic split. Then this kind of saying, oh, it's all a dream, it's all illusion is scary, and it calls the resistance of the egoistic loop, of the narcissistic loop. And we need to bring that guy with us onto the path. We have to do some marketing for that part. We have to do some marketing for the hungry ghost in us, so that we come and continue. So there needs to be something in us for us, at least in the beginning. So it's a good end. It's a very good contemplation, this, and it's an open-ended contemplation. So here we are really beyond any instructions and any words. So I'm talking about something ungraspable, undescribable, something we will never understand. We will become it. So we will embody it. So we will become the answer of this question. Well, we are already, so it's very difficult. We are already the answer of this question. We just don't accept it, or we just don't know it. So I just see there is a question getting into the same direction. Can you elaborate? Why does think matter when things are emptiness arising from emptiness? No, I can't elaborate it because all what I say about this is bullshit. This is so. if one really, with this question on a conceptual rational level, you need to really go deep into the teachings of Nagarjuna. I think he did the best job of explaining this, and then still, so that's the Prasankika Madhyamika school, which is the way the view within the Tibetan tradition. So what we need to come to is the experience that because things are empty, they can function, and because they are empty, they matter. Everything matters. Because everything is empty, every movement of our heart matters. Everything matters. Everything is sacred. So here, emptiness does not mean, it does not devalue things, it does not erase things. Things can only be because they are empty. If they wouldn't be empty, they couldn't be. Because then everything would be frozen into a disconnected, solid thing. It's only because everything is interconnected, it's only because everything is already one that it can exist. So that's like the understanding which at least on a certain level you can go into through the study of Nagarjuna and Chandakirti, and then the Tibetan masters who commented on these texts. Okay, the other question is also rather long, but maybe you can read it.
Yeah, so this one says, the deeper I go into meditative states, the stronger I get a feeling of time and space, in brackets, disappearing. At the end of this meditation, it felt like you were sitting right in front of me. And even when I opened my eyes, the computer screen was almost gone, and you were here. It was complete presence and very profound. I started laughing, but afterwards I also felt scared. I've had many experiences like this the last 6 months, and it kind of disrupts how I see the world. How to deal with that fear, the part of me that doesn't fully accept this, doesn't fully have the ability to control when this happens, doesn't happen.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that personal question. And so you describe something very common, a common experience for people who open to the teachings on emptiness, or the non-dual teachings. And I talked before about the fear arising on this journey, and how part of the practice is to step by step to lose the fear of the fear. Yeah? In general, I mean, to find a place of being with anxiety in general, so then that it helps to be with the anxiety of the death experience, which is that anxiety which arises in non-dual meditation, or which can arise. On the other hand, it's also so that's the beauty in the Tibetan tradition. It's a gradual path. So you don't start where I started today, but you build up a foundation. So sometimes for a certain period, it might be helpful to kind of go away, to not go into this kind of states and this kind of experiences, but rather emphasize grounding practices, body practices, eating well, sleeping well, some kind of healing, inner work, friends, connecting with the teacher, and so I think sometimes it's good to be a bit, to kind of go step by step and not to kind of jump into this into this kind of experience, or even trying to enhance them through certain breathing techniques or psychedelika or something like that, but to kind of to create a healthy vessel within which this process can be held and can be embodied. Yeah. So sometimes it happens particularly when people have this kind of experience outside of a spiritual tradition, without peers and without guidance, that it becomes very overwhelming and very destabilizing. Yeah. So it can be very terrifying to realize emptiness if you are not embedded in a tradition, and you don't have your protective practices, and you don't have someone around who says, I stick here with you, and this will pass, and you can be crazy for a while, but I'm not going to put medication into you. I just give you the space for losing it for a while. Yeah. Unfortunately, these spaces they don't exist so much in the West. Yeah. So I would be a bit. It's also personal. I mean, it's like we are also different, so there's no like fixed rules. But sometimes I support people more in stopping this kind of practices and starting to dig in the garden, learning to cook, and taking care of a sick person. That's what I did quite often with some young man who turned up in a London monastery when I was the director. So before you continue to do this, just there's a big garden, so just dig and plant and cook and take care of others. But sometimes it's just sometimes it happens that you can't stop it. Yeah. So some people have powerful Kundalini awakenings and they just can't stop it. You can put them into the garden and it just continues. Yeah. So then for that, of course, it would be good if we would have some healthy environments where people could be dysfunctional for a while. But don't try this out in Denmark, because then you're fucked. But there's some other places, like a retreat with a qualified teacher, long-term retreat centers who can handle these kind of experiences and who are not afraid of giving space to them. They exist. Yeah. Okay, so I think time is up, Elisabeth. Maybe you can keep the question, or you can also send me a message on Facebook, and then I can, if it's not too long, I can answer you personally, or I will take it to next Tuesday. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's a really good question. And it's good to be a bit in a dialogue. Of course, it's nicer to actually talk, but so it's this. I experience this also as a dialogue. So I do all the talking.